Hi guys, welcome back to the workshop. Today we are taking a look at the Beaver, Fibre Classics quarter scale Beaver that we got recently. It's been sat here waiting for a few parts to arrive. Those bits are now here, so we're going to see if we can't get on with it. There's not much left to do on the airframe to get it ready for flying, to be honest. It's mainly just the engine parts that are the problem. As you can see, Ewan's given it a bit of a cleaning just now because it's been sat in a dusty workshop. But I'll show you what we've got and what we plan to do. Okay, for the engine, the previous owner had exactly the same 45, zenoah 45 in there, and a carb bend, and the carb was in here somewhere. My engine hasn't had a carb bend on it, so I've got to install one carb bend and get it all lined up with what's in here. So that's the throttle push rod, which will sit just there, I believe. There is also a choke push rod, same sort of idea. That'll sit behind there, but in that sort of position further back, and it'll come out just there, something like that. So it's quite flush when it's fully installed. So yeah, what do you get? The carb bend I bought from Phil at Fighter Aces. Always great service from him. The kit comes with everything as you see there. So you get the bend, gasket, you get a 6mm insulator, the appropriate bolts for installing it, and a new piece of tubing which is for the pressure port, which is just in here. So that gives the pressure to the carb, the pulse pressure, to make it pump. One thing I'm not sure of is, because the carb sits back here, the 6mm insulator block is given at this dimension. I don't know if the 6mm one is going to be too big, so I have bought 2mm version, which means I can bring the carb very slightly further forwards. As I say, I don't know if it had the 6 or the 2 fitted before, but I've got the option. So we're going to have a play about with it, see what we find, see if we can get it installed. One problem that I have got is the instructions are all in German, which isn't a major problem because it's a picture and it's fairly simple. But if anybody's looking at getting a carb bend, the instructions are in German. Okay, so we've had a good look at this install here, and I've got my head around how it's got to go, but we have come across a bit of a stumbling block. I've only got one of these gaskets, and going on the drawing it says it needs two, one either side of the insulator block. So I'm going to see about ordering up another one of these. The part number's there, 6504. And see about getting it installed in there properly. And something else I need to get is a suitable Torx tool to get that off. I'm guessing it's going to be a 25 or something like that. But yeah, get a suitable socket for that. What else? So the other thing we've been looking at is just how we're going to install stuff, what's going to be next. I think what I'm going to do is bring a manual kill switch up to here for the engine, which basically shorts the coil to the case and kills the spark. I've got to get extension leads put in from that hole down to that bay down there, because that's where the receiver's going to sit. I've got to do that both sides, but I'm not sure how long they've got to be yet. So yeah, a bit of a stumbling block just now, but what I'll do is I'll come back once I've got tools and parts and show you how it's installed. Right then, so the carb and bend assembly is, as you can see, it put together. The second gasket has probably done more miles than anything, due to a mistake on my behalf. I've got it delivered to the wrong address, so it's now arrived here. Obviously this is the cast and machine bend, standard carb. This 6mm insulator comes with the carb bend kit, and I also bought, you might be able to see here, a 2mm version, just because I didn't know the spacing that was required. It is the 6mm that's required. What I've done here is I've used the 2mm just to pack out the bolts a little bit, because there's meant to be a trumpet on this end, so it's got like a flange. I'm not fitting the trumpet because of space in there, so I've just used that as like a make-believe flange to take up the length of the bolts. I could easily have put washers and whatnot underneath the bolts, but that's all good. So that could now get installed in here, but I'm now waiting on a new ball link for there because all the ones I've got aren't appropriate. So yet another delay. They're on their way. As soon as I get here, get it fitted. Okay, so it is some time after the last bit of filming. I can't remember when I actually filmed, a couple of days ago I think. I forgot to film the last little bit, but that'll become apparent just shortly. I'll show you where we've got with the Beaver. Okay, so carb bend is all installed, carbs installed, choke linkage, throttle linkage is all connected up. What we're waiting for is one of these gaskets to arrive. So that came, that's all been fitted now. Everything's tightened up. I did have to put in, I think it's on this one, a couple of washers because it seemed like the bolt was bottoming out. So just to pack it out a little bit. The easy start plug has been mounted down here, which is where it was originally, with the cabling all coming up the back. Now one of the problems I had noticed was that you can see these marks here on the magneto, or on the magnets on the flywheel. Wasn't sure what was causing that, and it was only when I started having a poke around I noticed that the bottom part of the coil on this one here was actually just touching the magnet, so I've pulled it out a bit and reset the gap. The easy start pickup is on that one as well. You also notice the fuel line is in and the vents are in, and that is because we've got a tank in there. That's the original position for it, but as you can see something's a bit tight because it's actually compressing the tank, so I need to have a look at that again. Maybe put some slightly longer elastic bands on it just to hold it in place. Not sure where the vents are going yet, but there's going to be a cowl here, so they might just be sitting short in there. And we have had a prop on it, so we did have it outside yesterday before the rain came today for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, trying to get it to pop and fire and run. It just wasn't having it, couldn't figure out why, tried all sorts of things. Kept seemingly trying to flood itself, so kept on having the plug out, drying it out, tried different plug, all sorts of things. Then all of a sudden it just burst into life and managed to keep it running and started playing with the tuning. It's still not great, but I need to spend more time with it running, get up to temperature, and just play with the needles and see what we can get. But I don't really want to do that at the house. I'll do that up the field so I don't disturb anybody. So with regards to the engine, I've ordered a kill switch for it. It's a radio controlled one, no, it's a receiver controlled one, so you have it on a switch on the transmitter. Excuse me. I'm also getting a push button, momentary close button, which will mount next to the receiver switch, so I can actually have them wired in parallel, so I can kill it from the transmitter, or I can kill it from the ground just by pressing the button as a backup. So if the receiver switch fails, I can still use that, and that just goes between the coil and the case of the engine to kill the ignition. So now really what I need to do is move on to the wings. Probably have to put it outside just to get both wings on together and still be able to get around it, and see about connecting up all the radio, getting that all working, and so I'm happy with it.
and once that's done we'll be close for giving it a trip to the field and test flying it. But that is probably it for just now. If you're liking this sort of video, let me know, give us a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, it's all greatly appreciated. Comment on this video, they're all read, they're all replied to. As I said, if you want to see more of this sort of thing, let me know. But until next time, I'll catch you all later.